Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about how you can boost your career through networking.
hmm
And we will go through like what is a career and looking a little bit at the different perspectives of careers. And then we go into a couple of topics. One is proximity, the org map, the know-how, and then a LinkedIn tactic that I have used in the past quite a lot. Career. What is a career? A lot of people defining career differently. For some, it's only about the power you get when you increase, like stepping up the ladder in an organization. For some, is being a leader, which is helping other people to grow, and for some, it's money. In the end, for us, in the context of this group, of course, it's the middle, like focusing more on leadership and people growing, but in the end, it doesn't matter. So if you want to earn more money, if you want to increase your power in an organization, it still works. So that as the starting point. Then one thing I have learned, and that's now interesting because the world is changing. As closer you are to the deciders inside of the company, which is like the top management, as more visible you are and as easier it is to make a career. So let's take the left side as an example. You are in an organization, you're in the same office like the CEO of the company. The CEO of the company can meet you at the coffee bar, at the lunch table, in the hallway, on the toilet, wherever. Like you have possibilities to bump into the CEO quite often, and just through that, this person sees you. And same with the other deciders of the organization. So as closer you are to the deciders, as easier it is to get promoted inside of the organization. So one of the things that I have done and seen myself in the past is if you are in a very large organization which has different multiple locations around the globe and you want to make a huge career in this organization, try to get into the headquarters. As closer you get to the headquarters, as more time you spend in the headquarters where the big bosses are sitting, as easier it is to get promoted. So that's leading us to the middle point, which is really like if you understand where the headquarter is of your organization, it's very, very easy. But now we are living, if we go to the right, in a situation where we work from home, where we work in distributed teams across the world. And that requires you to be visible in a different way. And of course, showing up in meetings and being visible. Um, Attending, let's say, the town halls and having a proper picture when, let's say, you have a big town hall on your profile. All of these things are contributing, but it really requires you to step up differently than just bumping into the manager in the same office. You need to show up in different meetings and need to show through your results even more so. And of course, that's when we go outside of the organization using social media and personal branding, where this goes even more important in today's world because the world is digital. I mean, the CEO can see that you are, let's say, commenting on the CEO's post or on the company's post, that you share the company's post and so on. That was still the same in the other two, but in the end, that's if you are in a digital environment and you work, let's say, remote only, that's almost the only chance you have to get in front of the deciders. And it's still the proximity to the deciders. If they know who you are, it's more likely that you get promoted if they don't know you, which is obvious, I guess. There's always a fun saying, which I most probably do completely wrong right now, but like the person that is washing the clothes of the FC Barcelona football players has more impact on the FC Barcelona than the head coach of Bayern Munich in Germany. And that's quite interesting to see. So the proximity of the person that's washing the tricots of the players has more impact on FC Barcelona than one of the top, let's say, five coaches in the world. And that's just interesting to see. And that's the same if you are in a large organization. If you want to get promoted, if you want to make impact so that it is at least visible for your career growth, You need to get close to the big guys and gals. Then another part that helps you to do that from a networking perspective is understanding exactly the setup of the organization. So one of the things we have as well in our classroom is the career mapping exercise, or the organizational mapping exercise, rather. So one thing is understanding the organizational chart of your unit. So let's say you are part of an organizational unit inside of a larger company or a smaller company. You need to know who are the deciders in your business and who is connected to whom and so on. As further you know that who is who, and you know the faces and you know the names of the people, as easier it is to get connected to these people inside of the hallway, again, depending on where you are, but the same in digital. But on top of that, it is equally important to understand the whole value chain of the company, because most, at least the bigger companies, are set up in ways where you have different legal entities in different countries, sometimes completely different setups. Now, I use here the example of IKEA. Like IKEA has the whole value chain. You have factories that are IKEA, and you have IKEA stores. And of course, these are completely different companies. So if you want to make a career inside of a large organization, it's good to understand what are the different entities and what are the different organizational pieces of the bigger company, so that you understand that inside of, let's say in this part, the shop, for example, you know who is the store manager, you know who are the others. And that goes then to the rest of the organization as well. If you know the people that are part of this piece of the organization, as easier it is to connect to them. A lot of people don't even look up the organizational chart in an organization and look who is who in this organization to use that to their advantage. So it's an easy thing because most of the organizational charts, at least internally of an organization, are visible. But the same on social media. If you take LinkedIn as an example, you can search for the CEO of large companies. You can search for who is the HR manager. You can search for who is the chief sales or whatever. So I think it's networking opportunities all around. It's just understanding whom to talk to. And when you bump into a stranger on the coffee machine, if you know that this is the kind of the big guy, that is always good to know, because then you can use it for your advantages. Then know-how. Know-how is, that's the next level of this, is understanding who is connected to whom. And that's one of my secret weapons. I don't know how, but I always figure out through networking and through reading the organization and the people in the organization who is connected to whom. And if you know that, let's say in this case, the person in the top right is connected to the other person, then you can, instead of getting directly to the CEO, you just talk to the assistant of the CEO, or to like I had the example, which was quite nice. So I was regional manager in IKEA, responsible for 11 IKEA stores. And one of the store managers grew up together with the CEO of IKEA. And because they grew up together, they know each other differently than the CEO of IKEA knows a normal store manager. So they know each other pretty well. And through that, of course, I can use this to, I was able to use that to connect to the CEO in a different way. So just understanding of what are the different networks inside of an organization will help you to navigate and utilize that for yourself. And I know that's a little bit politics, but it helps extremely, because then you can play the balls and the ping pong inside of an organization, and through that make a career and network, obviously. And then a tactic that I have used that is still working 100% today. I don't do that as much anymore, but it's still working, is I'm reading quite a lot of articles. Like I'm reading books, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm reading articles in different magazines. What I did all the time, I was sending these articles to individuals through LinkedIn. So I was taking the link of the article and then wrote to the person, which was an internal colleague. So it was not like external, it was an internal colleague, and say, hey, this article is quite interesting. it covers this, you might like it too. So I was sending an article, a link to an article to a colleague internally, and I did this even with the CEO. And they always appreciated it because they most of the time don't have time to read all of it. But that requires, of course, to understand what they're into, what are the topics they're interested in, and then delivering something towards them. And I was doing that in a way that I was taking notes when they do keynotes, that I was taking notes of the things they're mentioning. And then I was just using that as a trigger to say, read, because I was reading anyhow this article, and there was, if something popped up that was similar, I was just sending it to them, and they always said thank you, and there was a connection. And through that, again, you're more visible, you're more credible to them, and if you are more visible and they can remember who you are, not just the face, as well the name, it's more likely in an organization that you're getting promoted, especially in the larger ones, because in smaller ones, the CEOs still know everyone. I'd say maybe if you're below 100 people, it's still possible that the CEO knows everyone. But if you're going beyond, let's say 500 or 1,000 people, it's very, very hard for the CEO or even the whole C-suite to know everyone. Questions and or other ideas?
A comment. So even if you are below 100 people, the CEO is contracting you. The guy is signing with you the contract. So even this is a good opportunity to know better the people. And if you know the CEO or the founder or the general director, it's easy to get connected to the other people in the organigram. That's really interesting. And that can be a good tactic to be inside the company without perturbing the presence of the other people. That is the other, I would say, sacred weapon, no? Being over there in a low profile, but being over there.
Exactly. That's what it always is. And you see that, man, if you look in even in the newer organizations, if they have a big office, the C-suite is always hanging out together most of the time. So you see exactly where they are and how they move. And just by, I mean, I do this even with clients. I'm sitting on the same floor. I'm sitting close to the C-suite so that they see me. And that's something you can do, everyone can do. Like I did this all the time in IKEA, all the time. I was sitting so that I was sitting next to the big dogs or close by.
And that's a good thing. I mean, now in the startup world, you meet the founder or the CEO, but when you are in a middle company, sometimes it's really complex to get contact with the CEO. I mean, as you said before, if you are over 500, but if you are even over 100, sometimes this kind of company, they have human resources director or something like that, and you don't have access to the CEO sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes they don't want to. It also depends on the company culture. Because they want to be not like visible or accessible. It really depends on the company culture and how they behave themselves.
Yeah.
But still, if you're close by, it doesn't matter really how they behave. They will if you are there every day, you're still there. It's like washing the tricots from the players of FC Barcelona. You're there.
I would signal as well if you see the guy, the big boss, the big dog walking around. Hey, something like that, and small gestures. Hey, okay, I give you my eyes.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's very simple, these things, but it's super powerful. It's like just human behaviors. There was this study where as more often you see a familiar face, as more do you like that face. It's super, super basic. And it's just human behavior from like ancestors. Like as more you know see each other, as more you like each other. If it's not connected to something bad. But in the end, it's as simple as that. That's why the whole social media works. Like you see on social media, if you have a photo of yourself, it's performing better than if you don't. And that's because of that.
Good trigger is when you are a good worker and other people can recommend what you did. That is another big milestone as well. If you perform your work really well and the people see that and someone is asking for you as a person or as a worker, and the people can say, hey, he is really good. He can do that. We can trust him. That's a big game changer.
Of course. I always take that for a given. Like if you don't perform, you will always have problems.
And you need to be open and you need to be flexible to perform so well as you can.
Yeah.
So go into the excellence. If not, don't do that.
Yeah. No, agree. It always helps if you perform. If you don't just like show up. You just but though I have to say in large companies sometimes it's just you just need to be close. You don't need to perform.
In the
Sounds
big
bad,
one,
but it
yes.
is. It's
Yeah,
sometimes it's the case.
yeah, in big companies it's like that. So I got some experiences with this kind of behavior of they were the middle, they were not big bosses, they were intermediates, something like that, but they got a lot of power inside the organization in front
Yeah.
of the CEO. Oh. And they were really, really, really silly people.
Yeah, it is sometimes. That's always the funny thing. And sometimes they're like real stupid as well.
Hmm.
But they're in power.
Okay. Have to have the favor of the CEO, and then you can do nothing against that.
But I've seen as well things changing. So the CEO is changing and all the rotten apples are getting kicked out as well. That's happening quickly too. Like you're only protected as long as the big guys are there. They're gone. If someone takes them away, then you're gone too.
That's true as well. So I have the experience. Came a boss from China, and he took all the management. They changed this fire. All the people was fired, and he put new people from China. And all it was the team around 25, 20, 28, all fired, new people.
Yeah, they put their team into place to protect themselves as well because they don't trust.
Yeah, that's
It really depends on the company, of course. Yeah, fun world. What else?
affected.
Any other question to this?
Good performing, knowing the people, good behavior, showing the faces, let your work speak for you, and being every day over there. So that you are right. If the people see you every day, okay. He belongs to our group.
It is.
Mhm.
That's why I'm always laughing when I mean in bigger organizations again, you have like the like internally you can see people on Teams and so on, and some people don't put their photo. And it sounds super silly, but the photo makes the difference in a big organization because then people know who you are. If they don't know who you are, don't wonder that nobody promotes you.
The promotion is the magic word here. If you are working in a organization, it can be small, medium, or large.
Yeah.
Don't wait for the promotion. You can invent your own
Agree.
position as well. So, for example, here you are in a company and you say, so we are missing that, and that. Maybe we can propose this position, and I'm gonna take the leading of this team to do that, and that.
Exactly.
Proposing is another magic word here.
And you need to have there's a cool book. I need to share that with you because it's in German one day. It's something about killer career, how to make a killer career. There are a lot. I mean, I have used all of the tricks in my career. It's not nice, but it works.
Effective.
Yeah, it's all politics, unfortunately. And you need to be willing to play the game. If you don't want to play the game, then it doesn't work.
That is another big step, to be open and be flexible to try new things, no?
Yeah. That's why I don't want to work so much with large organizations internally. It's just energy that distract. And that sucks.
It's politics, any stuff, right? It's
It
politics
is.
in the family, in the organization, in your circle of friends, on approvals. Yeah, okay. Anthropological stuff.
Yeah, I'm happy to have a company below 20 people. Then that's like way less. Maybe even below 12. That's better. Then it's family still.
Right. But that's a good thing. If you want to plan the size of the company, you can decide how many people do you want to have inside, and how many people you want to have from external sources, something like
Exactly.
that. That's a good exercise. I'm gonna make my notes here. I'm gonna think about that, because until now I'm thinking in the startup world, 2, 3, max 5. But if you scale, you need more support.
Yeah. The tricky thing is that doesn't mean always more money. And the volume gets bigger, but the cost gets higher as well. Sometimes the most profitable companies are like below 12 people. If you look at turnover or profit per person, that's quite interesting. I'm fine to have a lot of profit. Less turnover, but a lot of profit. Good. Anything
Okay.
else? Any question?